The next one is equally as intriguing and exciting. We're talking digital product passports for physical goods. And to introduce a broader panel and to very quickly introduce you to that, I'm going to invite Delphine to come up and introduce. So please give Delphine a warm round of applause.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you today. This is my third year at NFT Paris, so I'm a veteran here, but I was not in that bar Alex was mentioning earlier. And it's just amazing to see how this industry is getting more and more mature, and as someone said before, how we're going from hype to purpose. So I'm Delphine Edé. I'm a partner and CMO at Ariani. For those who don't know us, Ariani is an open source protocol that was created in 2018. And since then, we've been developing a digital product passport solution for brands to enable circularity and a better user engagement. So what is a digital product passport? And we're going to be talking about this later. As we say, DPP, you'll hear that a lot. So it connects physical product to their digital identity, offering key information on history, for example, origin, and of course, ownership if it's on-chain. It can serve various purposes, of course, traceability, but also a more personalized engagement with the user. So here are some examples of the 40+ brands we've been working with in the past years who are putting their product on-chain and deploying at scale. So these are real live use cases. This is not the future. This is happening now. And you can go buy those products in the stores. And we just wanted to show you the depth of the use cases that are presented here with Moncler, Lacoste, Panerai, Breitling, Mugler, Yves Saint Laurent Beauté, Chateau de Pape Clément, and so on. So of course we couldn't bring on this stage all of those brands, although I would have loved to, but I have here with me today 3 very important brands that have been working on that. So to deep dive and get more insight, I'm very happy to welcome today Eva Assayag from Panerai. She's the head of information system and organization projects at Panerai. Come on. Welcome, Eva. Adrian Corsin, who's the managing director of fashion house Mugler. Welcome, Adrian. Thank you for being with us today. And Michele Loforte, global head of e-commerce and digital customer engagement at Breitling. Help me welcome them today. Thank you for being here with us. So maybe I will start by asking maybe you, Michele, because with Breitling you've been a pioneer in that space, and you've been working with DPP for the past 4 years. Why did you start? Why Breitling decided to start all those years ago, and what were maybe the business benefits that you were expecting? Thank you.
So, welcome and thank you all for being here. And we started, the first point was to innovate, to try to test something new. And the blockchain was, all digital passport environment was a really good challenge for us, and especially for the market. The first, the key, let me say, benefit for the customer is moving from papers to digital assets. And if we know, I mean, how works the watches industry, sometimes the invoice and the user manuals are more important than the watch itself, because if we want to resell it, if you don't have the papers, basically the watch will lose some value. But in that case, we moved all information from paper to digital things, and this was the first benefit that we saw with for the customer. So the proof of ownership, traceability, services, and the story of the watch, we moved from papers to digital.
So it was not really a business impact that you were expecting at first. It was more innovation for the user.
Yes, exactly. Then, more than business impact was the engagement. You know, I'd say, the usability of something, you know, was part of the storytelling, the history of the brand, and how Breitling can be innovative in this environment.
Okay, thank you. To stay on the watch makers, Eva, you started 2 years ago with Panerai on a very limited edition, and you scaled on most of your watches a couple of months ago. Can I also ask you why Panerai decided to venture into that space?
Yeah, what can I say first is that we have been interested in this space for quite a while now. We looked at the blockchain technology as interesting for its features, the immutability, the unicity of the assets that we can get there, and we wanted to work around it. So I would say the first benefits that we saw was to protect the value of our assets, the value of our product, and therefore to protect the value of our brand equity. The second thing that we saw as a benefit was to be able to offer new services to our customers, and those services revolving around authenticity and circularity. And we thought this really was on the core of what we wanted to offer to our customers. And the third thing that we saw was the opportunity, on the long run, to reconnect with second-hand customers, to be able to talk to those customers and to embed them into the DNA and the storytelling of the brand as much as we do with our first-hand customers.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your first experience with this limited edition and now what you're doing?
Okay, so yeah, we started small. We started with a very small set of population, and we started with customers that are very special because they're customers that are buying very limited edition of the brand. And to those customers, we not only give them the possibility to have that watch that is very limited, but we offer them as well an experience with the brand into a 2-day experience. Like we send them with Mike Horn to the North Pole, or we bring them to the Navy SEALs for 2 days and they're completely immersed into the life of, you know, like what happens there. So it's very special, and it's really like a very targeted small number of customers, only a few hundreds.
So very personalized engagement and what we call here post-purchase engagement.
Yeah, exactly. So we mixed the digital product passport on one hand and another more experiential NFTs that we would offer to the customers. So we sort of made a mixture of composition to offer to our customers.
And when you scale on all the watches, it's the same?
Yes, so basically we decided to go small first. Again, I think like other brands, it's easier to go on this space on a small scale and see how our customers are reacting to the product. And we saw that there was a very strong interest in the digital product passport from our customers, even on a very small scale. So all what we were thinking initially, with all the benefits that I talked about, it actually was talking to our customers, and you know, like a discussion started to happen, and then indeed we decided to go at scale for the entire set of watches that we're buying. So from now on, if you go and buy in our boutique a watch, then every single of our watches are equipped with a digital passport. So yeah, we scaled in October 2023, and well, we're very happy about it.
Thank you. Adrian, let's talk about fashion. So this is maybe a little bit more complex when it comes to fashion because of all the creative process involved and maybe the DNA of the house and so on. So I don't know if you also last week, I think, at the Dune Part 2 premiere, Zendaya wearing an archive piece that was just amazing from the Mugler house. So so why Mugler starts on innovation and on a project like this with a very, very strong background in fashion and creation? Why and how do you mix both?
So I think first and foremost, the House of Mugler has always been obsessed about disruption, innovation, and creativity. So when there's something that we can be one of the first to do, we get really excited about that. And I think it was really about expressing the values of this house, first and foremost. And up until now, particularly in the luxury handbag sphere, a lot of the board of blockchain-based technologies had been limited to very internal-facing supply chain issues, or at best had stopped at a certificate of authenticity. And we thought, what if we could use this opportunity to disrupt the communication directly with our consumer, to bypass borders, frontiers, and languages, and communicate with our Mugler addicts in sort of a more direct way. So it was those two things, disruption about a communication and reinforcing who we are as a house.
So disruption, that is part also of your
Values.
your values
Absolutely.
and so on. And maybe we need to precise here for the audience that you started on the spiral curve bag, 01 and 02. Why an accessory and not a fashion piece, a fashion item?
You know, I think we've all know the investment behind the luxury handbag business today. There are pieces to keep, passed down generation after generation. And so we thought it was the most natural evolution. If you're investing 2,000-3,000 euros in a handbag, you want to have the reassurance, but you also want to have that exclusivity that you wouldn't necessarily have if you were buying a branded T-shirt or maybe a seasonal jean. So for us, it was really the most natural part to start there at the top of the pyramid, to test and then see how we can scale it up.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to that later with the circularity challenges that I would like also to address. Michele, so can I ask you, what do you do exactly for users? If we go into a little bit more details, we saw earlier very briefly some screens of the Breitling DPP, but can you tell us a little bit what user can expect and how does it work?
The experience is changing, of course, because 4 years ago there was no D-messages, no tokens, no events. So at the beginning was just the proof of ownership, so basically the digital certificates. Now what we do, we started collecting and tracing all information of the watch in the NFT, even during the production and after the sales. So we use the NFT to trace where the diamonds are coming from, when the gold is coming from, all technical information, all specification of the watch. And then we enrich the NFT with all information regarding the services, when the watch is interacting with the brand, when it's coming back. And the idea is we move the information from the customer to the watch in order, if you sell the watch, the new owner will know exactly what's happened from the production until that moment.
That's what we call the events on the DPP, right?
Exactly, yeah. And also, most of the time, the first question is, okay, but if I get your watch and if the watch is stolen, so now working with Ariane, we are trying to build a network system in order to block the NFT. So maybe you can have the watch, but you cannot prove your ownership because you cannot claim, you cannot transfer, you cannot enrich the asset.
One more question about the user access to this DPP, and we've been talking how technology, it's becoming seamless for the user, and you don't need to download an app and a Web3 wallet and so on. And I know also you've worked a lot on that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, well, we moved from the app, and now we are creating a web wallet from the company. So what we have also to do, especially for the watch industry, because we don't have, unfortunately, a lot of recurring customers. So what we want to do is try to build a workspace where the customer can interact with the brand, so creating this kind of engagement on top of all services and not just selling something.
Okay, thank you. Eva, would you like to give us some examples also of like what the user can expect and how the user has access to his DPP?
Sure. First, I would like to say that we're in the beginning of the journey. I see Breitling far ahead. So what we're offering to the customer is basically first a custodial wallet that is embedded in the client account of the customer. So we were talking about how the customer can access its DPPs. So basically it's NFT. And we wanted to make it as simple as possible and as easy as possible to kill the friction that we can have sometimes with the Web3 world. So we created that, and I have to say, a bit like what a person from LVMH was saying earlier, it's like the customer doesn't even know at the end of the day, or it's not easy for him to know that he's got an NFT in his wallet, right? It's very seamless and it's very easy for him to access it. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing, it's that it's a proof of authenticity at purchase. And what we tried is to embed information of the watch as well, as you were saying. So traceability information of the watch, or unique information that are really like watch connected to the watch that the customer has actually bought. So for example, you would find very specific information of the movement that is inside of the watch that has been purchased by the customer. The second point is that, of course, we build the DPP to be one of the bricks in our fights against counterfeiting. So for us, it's really giving the possibility to our customers to have a second-hand market that's much more trustable. And we think this is like a really major key for us, that is protecting the brand, but that is protecting our customers as well. And maybe the third layer, as Michele said, is to have a history of the events that really marked the timepiece, the previous owner history and other elements. And this is at disposal of the customer as well.
Okay, thank you. You were saying you're at the beginning of the journey, and maybe I can share with you some numbers, not on any of the brands here present, but we've been working with a brand, and 2 years ago, for example, the claim rate was about 15 to 20%, and 2 years later, it's between 60 to 70%. And I think this shows also the maturity of the consumers, but also of the evolution of the tools and the seamless tech we're offering. Everything helps. It's not just the technology, it's also, for example, what the brand is giving to the user, so it's more mature in every single aspect.
Sure.
Adrian, we spoke a bit earlier about circularity, and what can you tell us about this at Mugler? Is it a consideration for also implementing DPP? Because we talked about services like repair, resell, recycling, maybe tomorrow, I don't know, upcycling and so on. Where do you stand on those topics at Mugler, and how tech solutions can help?
Yeah, I think when you go on particularly on the resale market for high fashion, Mugler is very well represented in this world. So it was definitely one of the key considerations for us. But it's how do you complement that also with going back to disruptive communication, offering to these clients, I think our best clients, invitations to exclusive events, specific shows, launch premieres, specific sales, archive. I think it's really about the two. I think what's interesting about this technology is it hits on so many fronts that in the past were challenging: circularity, resale, proof of concept, and CRM. And the great part about this is that you kind of have one tool that can allow you to do all three. And I think that's why for us it's really interesting. So it's never one consideration. It's really how the entire ecosystem works together.
And do you think this can create new revenues for the brand, or for now it's more at a user engagement level or values?
This never started, first and foremost, from a commercial objective. It really started from a love of technology and a love for our clients. If in one day that becomes a future source of revenue, we'll be super happy. And I think we need to test, we need to learn, we need to see, we need to educate the luxury consumer about this. So I don't have the answer, but I wouldn't say no, obviously, if one day that was a revenue chain for us.
I hope we can discuss this in a few months or in a few years, maybe on this stage again. Time is a little bit running out, but just maybe a few words to close this discussion. Michele, maybe can you share with us one challenge and why other brands should join the movement?
Yeah, the challenge, I think, is the education, first of all, because, of course, we need to explain it's not just the technical things, but it's a kind of evolution of the experience, evolution of the product, and it's not just for nerds, so basically. And the second one is sharing knowledge and approach ideas across the brands, because, I'd say, together we can make it better. Because if we don't have adaptation, basically we will be the only ones fighting for it.
Thank you. Eva?
Yeah, I think, again, I agree on the challenges. I think the education is really important internally in our brands and externally to our customers. And again, I agree with Michele. I think it's about building the standard of tomorrow. So it's about all the brands getting in the space and doing it together to protect more our customers, to engage our customers in a different way, to propose different services. I think it brings a lot to the customers and it brings a lot to the brand, but we need to be much more on the space to make a difference.
In any case, it's not our core business, so we can share ideas.
You can share information. Adrian, would you like to share with us?
You know, the first step is always internal. So it's making sure that the employees are first and foremost champions of this new technology and getting them comfortable. And that goes from our retail partners, our wholesale partners, our commercial team, our digital team, to making sure that it's constantly top of mind. So I would say that you have to build the love inside first. And then once you do that, it'll sort of naturally flow outward into your customers. Yeah.
We hear that very often from brands we work with and partners is like, where do I start? And maybe the question is not where do I start, is with whom within the company and who should be leading on those, GPP or blockchain-based project. Is it supply chain? Is it creative team? Is it innovation? Is it marketing? Is it at the COMEX level? And there are no answers today, and every brand is really doing it the way they can. But it's very interesting to share experiences.
But on that, maybe I agree with Adrian. I think what matters is not where you start, but with whom you start. And it's where the heart stands, where people actually love the technology and what you can do with it. They are the ones that can make the difference in your company.
Yes, agreed. Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you, for being with us here today. Thank you to the audience, and enjoy the rest of your day at NFT Paris. Merci.
Thank you.
Thank you.